guys, and welcome back to the Just Keep It Real podcast. I'm your host, Michaelia, and thank you guys for tuning in for yet another episode of the Just Keep It Real show. All right, you guys, this is season 3, episode 2. Guys, we are moving right along. I know if you guys have not already, go look at season 2 and look at all the episodes and catch up, as well as also you guys tune in to the previous episode. Episode 1 is walk in his ways, impact podcast impact voices. That was an interview I did with Mr. Furman Jackson, and we got into diving in on what inspired him to start his show. Make sure you guys go like and share and subscribe to that one, as well as comment below and leave your descriptions. So you guys, we're not going to prolong the time. We're going to jump right into this episode. I have a very special guest joining us today on the show. He is the founder and CEO of Such and Such Radio. Please give a warm welcome to Mr. Karl Pearce. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thank you so much for taking your time to be a part of the show today. So this our time. I just want to give you an opportunity to introduce yourself, give any background you want to give to the audience today.
Okay, my name is Karl. I'm a husband and father of 3. I'm from Louisiana, but currently based here in Texas in the DFW area. And my day job by trade, a maintenance technician for a plastic bottle manufacturer, but my true passion and love is actually music, but also running a close second is educating. So such and such radio that's my baby and brainchild, and it kind of just grew from basically me being a music producer and but wanting a platform in order to kind of bridge the gap between me making music and loving live music, but also wanting to minister to people and give them something inspirational and motivational. That's how Such and Such Radio came to be. And so I've been going for about 5 years. I won't say 5 years strong because there have been some hiatuses and some ups and downs, but it's been in 5 years, and the brand has been pretty strong for about, I would say, the past 3 years.
That's great. Thank you so much for giving your introduction. So you guys, we're not going to prolong the time. The topic we're going to talk about is a heavy topic. It's forgive and move on. So everybody has their own forgiveness looks different for everybody. But what would you say forgiveness looks like for you?
Forgiveness for me looks like, forgiveness has a couple of different aspects, but an overall thing of forgiveness is that you have let go of a hurt from somebody and you have found a place of peace where you don't want any harm or you're not seeking revenge for that hurt. And the ultimate place of forgiveness is you actually want to see that person healed and doing well. Because honestly, like it's cliche, but it's so true. To hurt people hurt people. So if somebody has hurt you, it's probably because they're dealing with some type of trauma or something. And so true forgiveness for me is being able to recognize that the hurt that they inflicted on you is due to whatever trauma that is from them. And so you find a place to not only forgive them, but want to see them truly healed.
I agree. Forgiveness looks like for me is being able to look at the person that's have hurt you, and you can look at them and feel no ill towards them. Also,
Yeah.
forgiveness looks like when you revisit that conversation, whereas the person, either if you're talking to the person or you're just talking to somebody else about what you went through, and you come up to the one part where the person has really hurt you, caused you so much pain and so much trauma, and like you said, hurt people, which is a true statement. But when you could get to that place to where you could think about the situation and not feel mad or not still hold on to anything, that's what forgiveness looks like for me. Being able to move on and move past the pain and the hurt.
Definitely. And that's why I say getting to a place to where, because some people be like, hey, I forgive. But as soon as you get mad or y'all get, because especially if, I put an example of a relationship, like, to where a marriage per se. And this doesn't apply to my marriage. I'm only going. Let me be clear, because me and my wife, we have both put in the work to where we understand true forgiveness and everything. And also we just understood to put in the work to not have to get to a place to where you needed some major forgiveness. But so I'm just using marriage for example. Period is, let's say if somebody has offended somebody in the marriage, whether the husband did it to the wife did it to the husband, whatever per se, they will say like, okay, in the moment, after everything's said and done, they have appeared to come to a resolution and say, all right, we're done with this. Okay, I forgive you. But then the next time that you get mad or something similar occurs, when they bring it back up and throw it in their face, true forgiveness wasn't had right then. True forgiveness is really being able to say, all right, it's done, it's over with, we walk away, we don't see it anymore.
Right. And I agree. Being able to move right past it and like, and you brought something up that's like when you get mad and you don't, I feel like that's when you notice if you really forgave that person or not. Because
That is.
I'm telling you, like that's when you really see it. Like, yup, that's it right there. Because I'm not gonna, I'm being real. I've been in some situations where I'm like, okay, I say I forgave this person, but then when I hear like a situation or the person, like I hear the person's name and I just get mad all over again. I'm just like, no, I gotta go back. I gotta go through it, and I gotta really forgive them and let them go.
Do
I
you
say that.
know? Do you know why that is?
You go ahead. I'm here.
Okay, because I have to see. I'm rarely interviewed. I'm usually the interviewer, so I have to realize I'm sitting in a different chair now. So forgive me. Like, okay, I heard a great quote one time. Well, it was a story that was related to me. It was a little boy that he was every time his daddy went outside to a fence post and made a mark on it. Like every time he did something bad. Well, the little boy looked up after like 6 months. He was like, "Oh my God, Daddy, I got like 30 marks on this fence post." He was like, "That's exactly right. That's how many times you've been bad and done something wrong." The boy was like, "Okay, well, can I do something to do away with them?" He was like, "Well, yeah, if you do something good and don't be bad anymore, then I'll come out and I'll cover up some of the marks." So he went out, and the boy started doing good. He was taking the trash out, doing his homework, getting A's in school, and walking little ladies across the street, just doing a whole bunch of things in an effort to do good. So his daddy agreed to it. He went out there and he put putty over the fence marks every time he did something that was commendable and stuff. Well, after another 6 months, the boy went out there and looked, and all 30 of the marks had been covered up. And he was like, "Oh wow, Dad, hey, I covered them up." He was like, "But the fence still looks ugly. It looks bad." He was like, "That's just it, son." And he was like, related to life. Whenever you do something and hurt somebody, and scar that person, he said, and you harm that person, they can heal, but the scar is still gonna be there. And so that's just like with forgiveness. A person might say that they forgive and like that they are truly gone, but a lot of times that scar is gonna continue to remain in their life, like to where that's almost inevitable. And so that's why I say the true test is whenever you have to look at that scar again. Because if somebody, and looking at their scars when somebody makes you mad, or whenever they tap into whatever emotion that was that hurt, because a lot of times that emotion could be jealousy. A lot of times that emotion could be anger. That emotion could come in a range of negative emotions. But whenever they get struck by that person, you'll see whether you've truly forgiven if that memory of the hurt comes back or not.
That's true. That is true. The true test. That is it right there. That is actually like, I'm not gonna add to that because you said everything I was thinking. Like you touched on some of it. I'm just like I can't even come back with a comment. So, but like you said, it's true. That is the true test. And sometimes we have to be tested to see like what's really in us, to see if this what we're doing is really what, how can I put this? Is what we're saying we're doing is really what we're living up to. So like how you hear the saying, practice what you preach.
Yes.
It's like for you to say you forgive somebody, sometimes it got to be tested for us to be like, okay, do I really forgive them or not, or am I just saying it? But
Hey, do you? All right, so you know the Lord's Prayer. I know, of course, you know the Lord's Prayer. It says, "Forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those that trespass against us." Right.
Right.
So that's us saying that to God about forgiveness. Forgiveness is in the Lord's Prayer. The Lord's Prayer was given by Jesus. And when the disciples said, "Teach us," the disciples said, "Teach us how to pray." So Jesus said, "Okay, I'm going to teach you how to pray." So he laid the Lord's Prayer out as a template to pray. And in this template, he mentioned forgiveness in there. So now, with him mentioning forgiveness in there, that tells you that it's going to be necessary to forgive and to be forgiven. Like those are those are two standout things in there, right there and there. But now, whenever you say the Lord's Prayer, you have asked for forgiveness and asked for the strength to forgive. But guess what? Every time you ask God for something, He's gonna put you to the test to see whether or not you can handle it. Like one of the things I don't know if you've heard this or not, but don't pray for patience. Fans that are listening out there, don't pray for patience. I don't pray for patience because guess what? God doesn't flip a switch and say, "Okay, you're patient." No, He puts you through situations that test and to see and to build patience within you. He puts you in situations to where you don't want to do nothing but move forward, but you have to sit still, which is gonna build up your patience. Like people mess up whenever they pray for patience, but because you're going to be put in a frustrating situations where you have to exercise patience, and then that's how you get it. So whenever you pray for forgiveness or to forgive, you're gonna be tested on that, and it's all about rising up to another level. You don't go from seventh grade to eighth grade without passing the test. You don't go from eighth grade to ninth grade without passing the test. And us in life, we're always trying to level up and go to another level in life. And so, in order to make it from college into the workforce, you got to test out. And so, a lot of times, for us to get to the next level that we saying that we're trying to get to, we're gonna be tested. And I'm sorry to break it to you. If you fail the test, you're gonna see it again. It might be through different people in a different situation, but the subject matter that you're gonna be tested on is gonna be tested again. If you haven't forgiven from a past relationship or a past hurt, you're gonna be tested on that again. If you can't forgive a friend that did you wrong, you're gonna be tested again. A boyfriend that did you wrong, you're gonna be tested again. Until you pass, if you keep on trying to get to the next level, until you pass the test, you're gonna keep on seeing it over and over and over again.
There it is, right there. Cause whew, that test repassing that test, and that man, it's the same thing but a different package every single time.
Every
And
single time.
we're gonna keep
Like,
going. And I
hey,
pray to God, like God, how many times do I gotta take this? Like I can't. And I've been like I said, I went through. We're gonna get to the our forgiveness journey in a moment, but just being there and like just going through that, like especially when you repassing, like you reckon, I don't know how everybody else does, but I recognize if I'm going through the same thing again because it's like I said, it's a different color, different package, but it's the same scenario.
it's the
So I'm looking
same
at
scenario. Like I said,
characteristics.
just to draw the analogy of school again, it might be a different teacher, different classroom, maybe even a different book. But guess what? Two plus two is four. I don't care what book is taught out of. It's the same math. To where, protons and neutrons make up atoms, which make up cells, which make up molecules. So biology is biology, regardless of who's teaching it to you or what school you're sitting in. So whenever you're taking a test on these things, you're going to be tested on them regardless. That's why whenever it comes down to, like I said, forgiveness for, you know, cussing somebody out, or forgiveness at a job, or forgiveness at, a romantic relationship, whatever the case is, the subject is the same, even though the players in place might be different.
Right. Absolutely right. So the next thing we're gonna move on. It's funny how we done covered two questions in this whole thing. So what the why do you feel believe it's important for us to forgive?
Well, because you can't level up if you don't forgive. Because, like, again, I go to the word. Like, the Bible tells you offenses must come. Like, it doesn't say they might. It doesn't say at some point maybe. No, it says they must come. So that means in life you're going to be offended. All people, and for a practical purpose, for people that don't live by the word, all grown folks ain't gonna get along. Like, to where you gonna have, and then especially like I go back to marriage because like, to where that is, I feel like marriage is the thread that holds our communities together and helps build our communities up and builds the world up and stuff. Like, so whenever you have a marriage or just romantic relationship, whatever the case is, that's two different personalities coming together. Two different personalities that might be from different socio-economic backgrounds, different cultures, different belief systems, but you're bringing a whole bunch of different life experiences and trying to merge them into one life. Well, guess what? That's not going to be a smooth journey because your mama might have yelled at you. This person's mama might not have yelled at them. So guess what? I might be a yeller. You might not be a yeller. So that's going to end up, there's going to be some friction there. I might, communicate my feelings with one word answers, whereas you need a book written. So whenever we come down to us explaining ourselves, there might be some offense there if I feel like you're talking too much or you feel like I'm not giving you enough. And through those offenses, hurt is going to come because there's misunderstanding there. When that hurt comes, there needs to be some forgiveness that takes place. And at the end of the day, people make mistakes. People mess up. To where sometimes you might not have been trying to, but you might mess up. You might do something wrong. So, like, to where you want to be forgiven just like you need to be able to forgive. So, if you're trying to level, like I said, forgiveness is crucial in leveling up. Now, if you cool with where you at in life and are not trying to move forward, not trying to go anywhere, not trying to push forward for that higher mark that the word talks about, then you ain't got then you don't need forgiveness. But if you're trying to be successful in life, if you're trying to have productive relationships, if you're trying to be a better person, if you're always striving to be better, forgiveness is necessary and crucial. Why? Because, like I said, you need to learn how to blend relationships and merge relationships and different stuff like that.
Right. I agree 100%. Also, I want to add, like you said, you can't level up. Like you can't get to your future if you keep always tripping over your past.
Correct.
It's like if you always looking back, because I lost. You think about what happened to Lot's wife when when she turned into a pillar of salt when she looked back. So
Yeah.
I'm like, you can't. She like you look back at the past, and that's what caused it to happen. Like if you always looking back and always using referencing your past, it's gonna harm your future because you can't look back at you can't keep looking back trying to go forward.
No, you can't. You're gonna run into something. You gonna
Exactly.
you keep on looking back while you walking forward. You're gonna run into something. You're gonna trip, fall, whatever the case is. And then I always look at, hey, look, I left that back there. So what am I trying to look back and yearn for it for now? You can reflect. See, hey, it's funny when you're driving in the car. When you look forward through the windshield, you see an actual image. When you look in the mirror, you're not seeing an actual image. You're seeing a reflection of what's back there. So that we relate that to life as well. When we're moving forward in life, we actually got to look ahead and see the vision that's in front of us. But when we think back and think backwards, we can look at a reflection of that to learn from it, to see where we came from. But we ain't supposed to turn our head and actually look back there.
Exactly. So it's a reflection just
It's a
to see how
reflection.
far you come from, and you got to keep looking forward because you're trying to get somewhere. But when you
Correct.
think about you always tripping up your past, and you can't bring your past into your future. You can't use like, well, this happened to me in my past, and now I'm like, no, your past laid a way for you. You look at your
Yes.
past as what I've learned in my past. I experienced this, so now me going forward, I don't want to experience that. So you look at your past as a lesson, not as your handicap. So
No.
it's important for you to let go of the things that have hurt you in the past. Not not all like the Bible says we need to forgive, which is the first foremost the important reason why we should forgive. But if you don't forgive, you losing sleep at night. While the person that hurt you is sleeping like they ain't did nothing wrong. So you sitting there holding on to something that they done let go of. They living their best life. So you carrying around all this stuff and it's weighing you down. So you're not really going as much. You're not really reaching where you trying to get, where God has want you to get, because you constantly holding on to something that you need to let go of.
Correct. Yeah. And, that holding on to stuff turns into a very nasty thing called bitterness.
Yeah,
And bitterness is terrible because bitterness starts to reside in your heart. And when bitterness starts residing in your heart, it starts taking up the space that a lot of love could be at.
right, right, 100%. So now we have gotten down. We've answered that question. I like the way this is just flowing, like we just having a conversation. So we're gonna get into our forgiveness journey.
Okay.
So how has forgiveness played a part in your life? Where can you take us back to a time where you were struggling to forgive a person and it took you a while to forgive? And what was the outcome once you finally forgave that person?
I had to forgive my brother, like my actual blood brother, because at one point I actually wanted nothing whatsoever to do with them, anything like that. Now, hey, I don't know if I'm jumping ahead, but now forgiveness doesn't mean I have to maintain a relationship with you. Like, but we've discussed what forgiveness means because my brother and I had a situation where he crossed what some would consider is an unforgivable line, and to where with me, and I'll just like to where I'll be transparent. He threatened my children, like with bodily harm. And and it was a situation that to where and it was over money, like to where it was like, dude, like to where this little, and like, and just to be clear, because some of you listeners be like, some folks may be like, well, a certain amount of money, I'll come bring some harm to you too. It was over $400, like so. Like it's like this little $400 is not life changing money, whatever the case is, but definitely nothing that should bring you to the point of threatening children. When he did that, I was very, very angry for a long time. And then I went through a forgiveness journey to where I'm at a place now where anybody that knows me will know that I say all the time, like, I don't hate him. I love him. I just don't deal with him. But to where but I'm also at a place where I genuinely, and this is why I said forgiveness is wanting to get to a place to where you want to see a person overcome that trauma, because that whatever they've gone through, because I know he's dealt with some hurt and trauma in his life and everything, so, and I truly want to see him overcome it and to be successful. Now, does that mean that he and I are going to be sitting side by side at Thanksgiving dinner? Probably never. Like, but, and like I said, but I don't want to see any harm come to him. I'm definitely not going to do anything to him. And, but we just don't have a relationship because forgiveness is for you and them, but more so it's a lot of times it's for you because you don't want to walk around harboring any anger or hurt or anything like that. And like I said, so I'm not gonna take up time doing that. And but like I said, I also know that sometimes a person's character, once they've displayed it, believe who that person is.
I agree. That is wow. It just be like it's true. The family hurts you like the most, and
Definitely,
it's just like
100%.
I don't understand it, but it's so true because I've had my forgiveness journey. I've had not to get too deep off into it. We being real, but it's like I said, I've been through this forgiveness journey for so long. But I'm gonna just go back to like I can say like I was really like it took me a while to forgive this person, and I do mean a while. So I was in a relationship. I was when I met this person, I was 12 at the time. This person was like a year older than me, so they were 13. So, like you said, the trauma and everything, that's a whole nother episode. But it's just like we had similar situations, I put it that way. We were going through the similar things. So when we came together, I just felt like we kind of put that pressure on each other to have the relationship and what we were looking for that we didn't see. we wanted that for each other. So we were like, in my opinion, looking back, I was just like, man, like we were way too young to even be thinking like that. But, you know, we were kids. We thought like, so we started dating and we were together like on and off for like on and off for 3 years. And like when I finally stopped dealing with him, I was in my early 20s. But
Whoa.
like we were talking, but we just never dated. Like the last time I dated him, I was like 18 turning 19. Like when I really stopped talking to him, I was in my early 20s because like we would still check on each other. But when I tell y'all, this man, this took me through so much. Like I experienced heartbreak at a very young age. Like it was so bad. So to sum it all up, what he did, he cheated on me so many times. He put me in so many like bad situations. I got into altercations after behind him. I fussed at him so much, but like he caused me so much pain because I in
Oh,
such a young age. Like I said, we were 12 and 13 at the time. On and off for 3 years, we pretty much grew up together because
yeah,
when we started dating, we were in junior high. So this went from junior high to high school into early adulthood. So I'm just like,
yeah,
it took me a while to forgive him, and then after that, like I said, I was a victim. I was like in the hurt people because I was so hurt and like I had given him my all, and I mean my absolute all. Like
yeah,
I was so invested. I was determined to make us work. I was like, you know what? I had this white picket fence dream. And the dream, I was like, we were gonna be that couple that went through junior high, through high school, to college. We was gonna make it. We was gonna like I was for sure that I had found my match.
Hey,
I was wrong.
if you don't mind me asking, I mean, I know how you said that y'all had like this shared trauma and everything and stuff, but like, that young, like, and don't get, hey, look, I will tell you this. I know of a couple of couples that have been together since junior high school and they're still together now, got kids and everything and stuff. So, and I commend them. Like, to the utmost, commend and salute them. But that being said, good Lord, that's young. Like,
Extremely
at
young.
at 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 12 years old, I didn't know if I like Burger King or McDonald's. So I know I wasn't ready to pick a life partner. Like, to where like I'm just like, can you take me through like the thinking of, because you just said some stuff that sounds like what a 27, 28 year old is gonna say. You were like, he took me down through there, and then you were like, you know but I was determined to make this work. Like when somebody said I'm determined to make this work, like to where, like, I mean, like I said, that's a 13-year-old should be determined to make algebra work, not
Right. Right. But like I said, we being real, like I said, that was like my biggest struggle with forgiveness because like forgiving him because like I said, it played a part. But to take you through it, like I said, we were going through similar situations. And because of what we talked about, and because like I looked at the good versus the bad, and the bad outweighed the good by a whole lot because everything he did to me, I never did to him. Like I never put him in a position to make him feel like so he was in competition with somebody else. And the reason I say I was determined to make it work is because I was fighting for that dream I had. Like I said, I was a child. I came up with this white picket fence dream. And like he was talking about how in his future what he wanted, like I said, we were too young. Like, hey guys, audience, if y'all got young kids, do not let them date this young. I'm telling you. I thought I was don't. Now, granted, I didn't have permission to date. I didn't. I did not have permission to date. I snuck and did it and got, and this is why it's important to wait till you old enough. But like the reason I said I was determined is because what we wanted, what we talked about, I'm like I felt like I was the only one fighting for that dream. I felt like I was the only one fighting for the future. For him, I feel like we were too young. We were trying to be adults. What is in a kid mindset? We were trying to be life partners for each other, but we were too young to even understand what a life partner really meant and the work it took to be a life partner. So like I said, after a while, he started really acting his age. And I got mad because I was just like, this is what you wanted. You the one that said you wanted X, Y, and Z. So I'm over here trying to do X, Y, and Z so that way we can be what we are trying to be. Like I said, through all that, it was a lot of immature communication. Like I said, we had our verbal altercations. It never got physical. But like I said,
Well, that's good.
I used to talk bad to him because the way he used to treat me. I'm like, you got me out here looking dumb in front of all these different people because I'm over here fighting for somebody that's not fighting for me. I said, all this stuff that you're doing to me, I have never done to you. I've never cheated on you. I've never made you feel like you had to be in competition with somebody else. I've never made you feel like that. And through all that hurt and pain, I mean, I remember like the last time we had broke up, it was bad. I was crying for days. I was depressed. And literally, I remember this, my grandmother, she had to talk to me because I was like, mind you, didn't nobody really know I was dating him like that except for my granny. And of course, one of my cousins knew. That's because we went to the same school and some of my friends. But my granny was the only one that I confided in about the relationship. And like, she was like, she talked to me. She gave me some real hard truth about the situation. And she's like, Michaelia, why you over here crying, depressed? I said, he's sleeping at night. She said, you got to forgive. Say, forgiveness is not for them. It's for you. Because you're giving him the power over you. Because you holding on to something that he clearly don't care about. She's like, if he cared about you, he wouldn't be having you crying like this. If he really cared about you, he wouldn't be putting other women, these other little girls, because we wasn't women. But she said he wouldn't be putting all these people before you if he really cared about you and valued you. So I was just like, yeah, you're right. So through there, like my granny started talking to me. That was my first dealing with forgiveness. And even after, like I said, the last time we had a conversation, I was in my early 20s. At this point, I done grew up. So at this point in my life, I had to forgive him because he was, like I said, after that, I was just hurting. I was just going through different things because I was hurt. So I was just like, you know what? I've been hurt. Let me hurt other people so they can see how it feels.
Oh,
So,
wow.
like I said, when you said hurt people, I can relate to that because
Yeah.
I remember I was doing it through my 16 through, like I said, sophomore through I would say senior year. Senior year, I kind of like settled down. But like I said, I definitely sophomore through junior year. Oh, I was like, it's a wrestling character that she says she's on a revenge tour. Liv Morgan. I felt like I was on a hurting tour because I was like,
Wow.
let me go ahead and let these dudes see how it feels like when to be lied to be doing this. So I felt like in my head, I was like, I'm determined to make every dude feel the pain that he has ever caused another woman. And there's some people that got caught in the crossfire that really was a good person to me, that really never did anything. But because I was so hurt and I didn't let go of the hurt, I was taking it out on other people. I did go back, like, granted, some people that I did end up like, meeting, like seeing, after the time. And I did apologize. I said, hey, when you came in my life, I was in a rough place. I wasn't, I was like, I was hurt from a previous relationship and you got caught in the crossfire. And at the time, I wasn't thinking about nobody else but myself. And I was able to ask for forgiveness from them because, like I said, some people that wasn't trying to hurt me got hurt because I was hurt. So that's what I say. It's important to forgive because it's not for them, it's for you. Because if I would have forgave him, half them people that like came across in my life wouldn't have gotten hurt like that.
True.
But when me and him had a conversation, at this point I had to really forgive him because I was like, I don't want to keep taking this on in my necks. And then at this point, when you don't forgive, you build up walls. You develop a mentality like hurt them before they could get to hurt you. It's a lot that goes on when you don't forgive that I experienced. So when we finally stopped dealing with each other, like he came to me and apologized. Like he did, so like he started crying and everything, which I ain't never seen him done. The only time I seen him cry is when, he had some things go on in his family that I'm not gonna disclose. But that's the only times I really seen him like emotional like that. So for
Yeah.
him to be emotional towards me, and I'm just like, we actually had like a sit down conversation. I was like, through everything that we went through, because I'm not gonna lie, he tried to reapproach me to get for us to rekindle, and I'm just like, no, it's just too much there for me to go back into it. I said, I forgive you, but I also will never forget what you done. I said,
Yeah.
I said the things I said you have put, like you said, when you said the putty on the fence, it resonates with me because I'm just like, I said you have put so many scars in me. I said you have done so much to me. I said you have literally, I said I have lost myself at a point by being with you. I said you have took me through so much at such a young age. I cannot go back. I cannot put myself back in that situation. So you may not be for me. I said, but you are perfect for somebody else. I said, I appreciate you forget. I appreciate you coming back after all these years and owning up to what you have done and saying how you knew it was wrong. And you just wasn't in that mindset. Like I said, we were too young to be trying to do all this in the first place. But being real, like it just took, and it just said it took. I had mind you, I had already forgave him, but it just said it took him. It took him like 3 years for him to finally come back and apologize to me. And I'm just like, I'm grateful that he did it at that time because at that time I was at a place to receive it,
Yeah.
at a place to like hear it. Because if he would have tried to apologize to me like prior to that, I probably would have like, you say sorry all the time, but yet like I said, his sorry, he would say, "Oh, I'm sorry," but then do it again and
Yeah.
again and again and again. So it's like his sorry wasn't a sorry. It was like, "Oh, I got caught. Don't worry about it." Okay.
Yeah.
But like that moment, he was like I could tell he was sincere. It was like I never meant to. It's like he's like he acknowledged the hurt that he has caused me, and I was just like, you know what? Okay, cool. Forgave him. We had a good conversation, and we departed our ways. But like
Ooh.
that that was my first. Ooh, that took me through a lot because like that's when I really started had to deal with forgiveness, and I got my introducing to forgiving because that at a young age having to go back and deal with that, and then having to, and then I've also had some experience where family has hurt me, and that is a journey within itself because family is just like people like, oh, you can't cut your family off. Yeah, you can.
Yes, you can.
Yes, you
Look,
can.
hey, who made that? Hey, look, I don't know who made that rule up. It's crazy because another quote that I came across. It was earlier this week. It said the family that you make is way more important than the family that you come from.
I'm telling you, that is so true. Now you got some family members that's really there for you and everything, but it's them ones that that hurt. I had some family members in my life that I've had to I can
Hold
love
up,
you.
hey, I wanna dive into that for a second. You say you got some family members that's really there for you. Define there for you.
So when I say family members that are really there for me is family members that are there on a not even being consistently because we all have life, but the ones where I like if I need you, I know I can call you. It's like if I'm down, I know that you're there. Like it doesn't matter what we're going through. I just know you're there. Even if you're not physically there, but I know your presence is there. So
Okay, now, okay, I like that. But now my question: what's their motivation for being there for you? I'm getting somewhere with this line of questioning.
hey, so my thing is like with them being there, their motivation, some of them is to they care about my spiritual, mental, and emotional well-being at all times. So they want to make sure that I'm good in all areas, if not one, depending on what I'm going through. But if it's not just something's wrong,
Okay,
but just being there in the good times and the bad times.
okay, and so what do they get out of it?
What do they get out?
What do they get out
That
of
is being not only my support, but what they get out of it just being. That's actually a good question. How can I
it?
word it?
Boom, and that is the now. Hey,
There it is. I
what-
was like, whoa.
that's why I told you I was going somewhere with it. Okay, because and this is sad to say, but and I'm not a cynical person at all. I'm actually an optimist, and I see the best in everybody. life shows you that unfortunately most people are only there for you because they can gain something from your relationship.
Mm.
To where and that's including family. To where they're looking for something that you can get or whatever the case is, different stuff like that. Once you are no longer beneficial to them, then you will really see where a person is at and who's really there for you and who's down for you. As you said, whenever and like I don't put people to the test. I don't play games like that. But I have been in situations that to where to no benefit, to no gain sometimes, and even to the detriment to themselves. I have had people that have come through for me and looked out for me. Those are the people that I know are 100% in my corner. And it's crazy because, my daddy used to tell me, your real friends, he said, you'll be able to count them all on one hand and you won't use all your fingers. Here at 35 years old, I have to say Elijah Pierce did not lie at all. Because, there are only about 3 to 4 people that I know 100% truly I can say that are there for me 100%, because just purely for being there for me. And understand this, because people are like, well, this person is, to where they'll start saying, well, this person doesn't get anything from this person doesn't get anything from this and stuff. Some folks feel good. Some people get satisfaction out of being able to say, I helped you out of a situation. Like, not even throwing it in your face or nothing, but they feel good being able to say, hey, I'm the one that pulled them out of the fire. I came through, I loaned them that money or whatever the case is. So there's a personal satisfaction to saying, like, hey, you needed me to get out of this situation. If you get what I'm saying. To where, but when you have people not to where that 100% that nothing that whatever they are doing is purely just to put you in a better position or just to help you out, that's somebody that's really, really down for you.
That's it right there. That question, it took me for a little. I said, "Whoa, you done gave me something to think about." Now I'm telling you,
Yeah. And
you done gave me something
but
to
to
think
where
about.
I will tell you this, it will also check your motivations for when you are helping people. Because let's say if you got a friend or a home girl or somebody that's like, hey, can you take me to work or whatever the case is and stuff. If you are, you get in your car, you taking her to work or whatever, but to where if your reasons for doing it are not or solely based off of, I just want to see her do good, I want her to get to work or whatever the case is, that's straight. But if this is a home girl that, like, well, hey, I'm taking her to work, but she might be able to do my hair at some point or another, you're not doing a charitable act. You're doing an investment in a business transaction in the future.
All right. I'll tell you, that's another nugget. Y'all take care. Y'all tune into that right there. Y'all, I know we over here we talk about forgetting, but y'all sometimes you gotta get them nuggets. That's what we gotta do. That's what we
Yeah,
do.
you gotta get them nuggets,
You gotta catch them. That gave me something to think about. I'm
and
about to start.
no, but this is all to where it helps. But this is all a part of the forgiveness journey as well, because sometimes people will forgive you purely based off of they forgive I'm forgiving you because you do good stuff in my life, to where you I'm able because I don't want to mess up
This
the
good thing
benefits
I
that come. Yeah, exactly.
got. That is so. Oh, that is so true. That actually goes in what we talking about next. Why
Okay,
do you? That's part of what we're talking about. Why do you think it's hard for people to forgive?
you say what now?
Why do you think it's hard for people to forgive?
Because ooh, that's okay. It's a couple of reasons. Number one, no, and the number one reason, the main reason why it's hard for people to forgive is because they're trying to do it on their own. Like
Mm-hmm.
they're trying to forgive on their own power, and this is really and truly the heart of the matter. You can't forgive on your own. You got to do it with the power of God, because the fleshly part of you, the human part of you, is gonna hold on to that hurt. It's gonna hold on to that anger, and mentally, like we talk about real hurt. I ain't talking about you stepped on my foot or nothing like that. I'm talking about, to where, hey, you cheated on me with my best friend type hurt, or and like, to where, or you stole money from me that put my family out on the street type hurt. And I will tell you one, and this was not this is a situation I'm aware of, but I wasn't personally involved and I just witnessed it. So there was a guy on death row in Arkansas. Like, man, I can't remember his name for nothing right now. But the story is pretty famous. Somebody just Google death row inmate. Victim's family visits. Victim's family brings his kids to visit. You'll find it. And the reason why I point this out is because this dude killed. This dude, he was like on death row, broke out of jail, escaped death row and stuff, went and killed some other people, and ended up getting caught. Well, the other people that he ended up killing, the family forgave him. But they not only forgave him in word, they forgave him in deed, because they reached out and found this guy's daughter and his kids and grandkids, and paid money out of their own pockets for them to go and see their dad and grandpa. That's true forgiveness. Like, to the utmost. Because, like, and like I said, but that showed me, and what we should all strive for, that showed me God in them. Because I know on their own power, a human can't do that. Because a human's gonna think, you kill my daddy, I don't want to do nothing but bring hurt to you. But God is gonna be the one, when God is working and living in you, He's gonna be the one that's gonna say, "Hey, dude did that, but everybody's done something in life, so I got to look past it. So let me do something good," because that's how God works with us. Man, we spit in God's face every single day with a multitude of stuff that we do. And the reason why I say we spit in his face is because God can't be in the presence of evil. He can't be in the presence of wrong, because God is intrinsically good. And so, like, to where we can't be in his presence with sin, but he sent his son down here to die for and to cover our sin. So that allows us to go into God's presence, and that allows the Holy Spirit to reside within us. But even though we have the Holy Spirit residing in us, we still want to, move in nastiness and dirtiness and sin and stuff, and try to get it to reside alongside the Holy Spirit. God don't like it, but he still allows it to happen. Like, and we should be trying our best to not have it happen as much. We still fail in that regard, but guess what? God forgives us over and over and over and over again. And that's why I say, seeing those people do that shows me God's glory, because he's the only one that could, take an offense so great. They, like I said, this dude was on just some monstrous acts, took their father away from them. But instead of them holding on and harboring hurt, which by any stretch of the world's standard would be justified, they forgave him and then showed him an act of love. And like I said, God does that for us, because we get all type of stuff that we don't deserve. We get grace, we get mercy. He blesses us. He gives us money. He gives us beautiful children. He gives us good food to eat. He gives us life over and over again when we never deserve it. But, like, so to where, like I said, so the biggest reason why, to go back to your question, the biggest reason people can't forgive is because they're trying to do it under their own human strength, and you can't do it. You got to get strengthened spiritually and ask God to come into your life, and allow the Holy Spirit to come into your heart to help you forgive. Now, other reason why people can't forgive, they haven't been taught how. They haven't been shown an example of how, especially in our community, because that, some kids see is, man, forget your daddy. He ain't nothing but a bum. He's a scrub, because daddy left and abandoned them. So kids see mama holding on to hurt, they follow that exact same example. Or kids see, daddy saying, well, your mama's stupid, whatever the case is and stuff. So, hey, son see daddy holding resentment towards mama, so they gonna keep on holding resentment towards it. Or, and this is a big one for our whole community, we start holding resentment towards the police. oh man, I don't trust these police. I don't want to do nothing out of this one. So, because yes, there is a systematic problem. I'm not gonna deny that. Yes, there have been incidents and instances where police have done wrong. Like to where the system needs to be changed. I'm going to say that clearly that it needs to be changed, cleaned up, and everything. This is not me advocating for the police, but what I'm saying is that to where there has to be a level of understanding that all of them ain't bad, and that to where as a community we can't keep on holding grudges against all of them for the actions of some, but we do hold those grudges and there is no forgiveness as a community mindset. And so because that community mindset doesn't show forgiveness, a lot of us are walking around holding on to alts and offenses that really ain't even ours, our fight to have. So those are the reasons why we can't forgive, is because, like I said, we're trying to do it on our own might, but then also we just haven't been shown how to forgive.
That's right. That's right. I also want to add one thing to that. I feel like some people don't want. It's hard for people. Some people don't want to forgive because it's like, well, I can't forgive because how can I just forgive? Like they did, they caused me so much pain, it's so much hurt. And then when you were talking, it just made me think about when people said they just can't forgive because they just don't want to, because they was just like, I can't. They the person did something so forgettable, unforgivable to them. But I'm just like, when you think about what we did to Christ, when you said how we spit in God's face every day, I'm just like, so you forget, like, before God sent Jesus to die for our sins, we did something so unforgivable. We grieved God so much to where it made him feel like he wished he never created mankind.
Correct.
So when you think about what we were doing is so unforgivable, then God never would have sent Jesus down. But because he loved us so much and he gave us another opportunity for us to be reconciled back with him. When Jesus died, he paid the price for our sins and he forgave us. So my thing is, like, you don't want to forgive because you think it's so unforgivable. When you think about what we done, that's what I have to use. Because when I struggled, I'm being honest, like when I told you the situation with my ex, like I didn't want to forgive him. I was like, how can I forgive him? He did something to me so unforgivable. It's just like, and I feel like that's real pain. Being cheated on, being betrayed like that, especially if you don't ever like. I was like, I grew up in church, so I always knew about forgiveness, but actually having to do it, I didn't have that experience there. So
Yeah.
that being through that situation, that taught me what it meant to truly forgive. Because like I said, when you get mad, that's that test to show, like, okay. And every time I got mad at him, like I said, I didn't really forgive him. But like I was saying, if it was so unforgivable, then I would never forgave him. It was so unforgivable, but I had to think. I was like, you know what I was doing to God was so unforgivable, but yet He still forgave me. So
Correct.
why can't I do that for other people? It's never something that's so unforgivable that you can't forgive.
No, it's nothing. Like I said, it's now it's levels to this.
It
Like
is.
but yeah, there's nothing that's done that's unforgivable, because like you say, because of the grace that Christ has given us, He's shown us that it ain't nothing that to where it ain't like God says, all right, I got a limit to how much I'm gonna forgive now. Like to where
Mm-hmm.
hey, like so to where, and that's why when the Word tells us, how can you expect forgiveness from God whenever that you haven't seen, whenever you can, but you can't forgive the brother that you can see. So like that's why I go back to it's got to be on. You got to ask God to come into your heart to help you forgive. You can't do it on your own.
Can't You cannot do it on your own, because if you do try to do it on your own, it is not gonna go right.
You gonna fail.
You still gonna be feeling mad. The person gonna come
Yep.
around. You be like, hey, how you doing? You gonna roll your eyes and everything. If you try to do it in your own power, you can't do it. You
You
cannot.
you can fool yourself into thinking
Mm-hmm.
I forgave them, and that's whenever we mentioned earlier, that's when that test gonna come, and you gonna get mad, and it's all gonna come spilling over. But like a lot of times, doing it on your own, you will have fooled yourself to think like, oh, I'm alright, I'm not tripping about that. Yeah, okay, just wait till the right situation comes along.
And then you're gonna be mad all over again. Mad at the
Yep.
person, blaming the person, talking about some why are you around and da. Like no, it's no. The best thing you can do is when you've been hurt. Like I said, it's levels to this. To
Yeah.
get to it's not hard to get there if you constantly doing the work. It is not hard, but don't think it's not an overnight process either. Because it took me, like I said, that situation. It took me years to forgive him. Years.
I'm just curious, where's
I have no clue.
no clue. So
No
there
clue. Like we had that conversation and we went our separate ways for real. And
okay.
I was like, listen, and we didn't leave, like I said, not on bad terms or anything else. I just simply just said, I was like, I appreciate you coming back and you wanted to have a conversation, you being open and honest and saying that you didn't know you were doing and that I held you to a higher standard. Which, like I said, we were kids trying to be an adults, trying to have, like I said, life partners at the age of 12 and 13 that's just how we saw it. And like I said, I didn't know what I was getting myself into. I was trying to be, and thinking like, okay, I turned into a mom more than a girlfriend. I had no business dating. That's a whole nother conversation. But
That is a whole nother
that is
conversation.
a whole nother conversation. We're not gonna get into that. But being real, like I said, I was trying to be like a life partner and didn't understand what a life partner was. So he expected something out of me that I couldn't give because
That is crazy. You were trying to be a life
I wasn't
partner
able to
with
like
with you were trying to be a life partner with 13 years of life experience.
I was 12 when I was 12 at the time. He was 13. So he's
Well,
a year older
okay.
than me. But
Okay,
yeah,
so that makes it a year worse. You were trying to be a life partner with 12 years of life experience.
exactly. And he was trying to be a life partner with only 13 years of experience. But in our head, we was going to make it work. We was going to peak. We was going to have a YouTube channel. We was going we were just, it was a hot mess. It was a hot mess.
What?
Like I
Hey,
said,
Ella, you don't mind me? What year were you born in?
I'm a 2000s baby.
The year 2000.
Yeah, I'm a 2000s baby.
So this was in 2012.
Oh, jeez. But like just to go,
Man,
I can look back at it and laugh at it now because, of course, like I said, if I didn't forgive him, I wouldn't be able to tell you about the story and laugh
yeah,
about it. Like I said, I've noticed, like, yes, there's pain there, and yes, there's hurt there. But I look at it as like, you know what? I learned, even though I went through so much, I learned so much. I learned what a man that's really serious about you, what he's not going to do. I learned so much stuff about myself, and then also that, and it was that I felt like I found myself too. Like I really dug into my worth and my value. I feel like I found that in the midst of me going through all that. So now you can't come to me with just anything, not with no okie doke,
yeah,
none of that. So by me going through so many different things that I was required to forgive, not only did I release that pain and that burden, now I can walk about it and be free. I also was able to learn something from that experience as well. And also
exactly.
extend God's grace and mercy to that person as well. Because not everybody's going to forgive. Even though we need to, and it's important for us to, not everybody's going to do it.
No, they ain't.
And that's just the sad result of certain situations. Some people are just not going to want to let it go. They just can't let it go. But like I said, if you have that mind, if you think about that, think about what you were doing to Christ, and think about how you were acting, and think about something you did. Some like I'm gonna be just being real. Before I got saved, I broke so many commandments. I did so much. Some of the stuff he tells us not to do, I was doing it. Like I did some. To me, it's like that's so unforgivable. But yet he still forgave me. So when you apply that to your situation, it's not hard. I mean, don't it's not easy, but it's not. Don't make it harder than what it has to be. Just yield and let God help you forgive, and just move on.
Yeah.
That actually kind of goes into our last thing. We done covered our last point, but we're gonna end it on a positive note. What
Okay.
advice would you give to somebody that is struggling to forgive and move on?
pray about it, like really seriously go into prayer about it. But then also there are practical steps I would suggest that a person takes. So first, like I said, first and foremost, pray about it. But then look at it depends on the relationship, because like if this is like a relationship, whatever the case and stuff, like, but I would definitely suggest look at all the positives from that person. Like, look at all the positives of that person. That's not saying move forward relationship, but understand that you're looking for something good in them, and to know that whatever this offense is or whatever this hurt was, you're trying to determine, is that person's character, or was that just and was that their character, or was that just one incident? Was that something that just happened because, was that an anomaly, or was that the norm? Is what you're trying to figure out. Because if it was the norm, forgive them but move on, but don't deal with it. If it was an anomaly, then y'all can go back to the drawing board and let them and understand, acknowledge what the hurt was, discuss it. That is crucial. If you're trying to rebuild relationships with the person and somebody has offended you, or you've offended somebody, then you got to go to the drawing board and talk and discuss it, and work on it through discussing it, and get down to the root cause of what happened. But so in an effort of doing that, like I said, look at the positive of a person, look at the situation, look at it based off of facts and not feelings. Based off the facts of what was actually said, what was actually discussed, what the actual hurt was, instead of how you felt about what was said, or how you felt about, what the perceived slight was against. And the reason why I say you got to look at the facts and not the feelings, because I might feel some type of way about it, but that doesn't mean necessarily what it was. Or I might, think about a situation in a certain way, or see it based off my perspective, but that's not actually how it went. So that's why you got to get down to the facts of it, and then make your decisions based off of that. The other thing is, after you've evaluated who the person is, well, you've evaluated the relationship, and then who the person is, and looked at what happened for what it is, then at that point determine how you're going to deal with that person. Like, is this going to be a deal breaker that you are going to walk away with a clean slate and a clean heart, or are you going to move forward now knowing that, hey, this person has done this, but I'm going to forgive you, and this is how we're going to move forward ahead. But regardless, and my last key thing, you need to be thinking about how you want that person blessed in their life. Whether that be you want that person blessed through healed trauma, where you want to see that person prosperous, whatever the case is. But picture in your mind something good happening for that person. If you truly picture in your mind something good happening for that person and feel good about it, you haven't forgiven, you need to go back to the drawing board. But when you get to the point to where you can picture something good, a blessing coming to that person, and you feeling good about that blessing and being happy that they are receiving it, you've truly forgiven.
Right. Right. Like you literally took my answer. But just to add to it, a little bit to it, like I said, it's important to pray about it and really seek God on forgiving this person. Because like you said, forgiveness is not for them, it's for you. You don't want to give somebody power over you. And first of all, we're not supposed to, sin does not have power over us, but we have power over it. So why would you give somebody power over your emotions, let them control how you feel about a certain situation, because you just can't let go. You can't let go. But the only thing is you need to go to God so that way you can let go. But that's all we're gonna have to add. We're gonna go ahead and close the show. Thank you guys for tuning in. I hope you guys have enjoyed this conversation. Yeah, we have talked about so much, guys. I hope anything that was said touched you and helped you in your own area of life. So we thank you so much, Brother Pearce, for coming onto the show and also just sharing your insights. It was a great conversation. I just want to
Definitely.
give you time to share your social media. Make sure you guys go like, share, subscribe to this episode. Make sure you leave your comments in the link below. But go ahead and let you tell the audience your social media.
If you are trying to reach me, my personal page is Karl P _1, and that's spelled out Karl P _ONE. And if you're trying to follow the podcast / YouTube channel, It is such.and.such.radio. So that's such and such radio, but with dots in between each word. That's SUCH and ND period SUCH period radio. Yeah, and then also is at such and such radio on YouTube. That's the channel. Also, you can tune in and find episodes on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, and all your major podcasting platforms. Also, the links to just all of our socials on there. We're also on Facebook at such and such radio, and you can follow Karl Pearce the First on Facebook as well. So please go tune in, like, follow, subscribe on all those platforms. And also, if you are an aspiring artist or an established artist and you're looking for production needs, give me a holler because I got hot stuff for you.
Alrighty, guys, you guys heard all that. Make sure you guys go like, share, subscribe, tune in, and also aspiring artists or on our established artists. Make sure you guys go hit him up for everything you may need, beats, anything. Hit him up. All right, guys, make sure you guys follow me on all platforms at The Real Michaelia. That is at The Real Michaelia, spelled out Michaelia with two A's at the end, on Instagram, TikTok, on all social media platforms. Follow the Just Keep It Real podcast on Instagram at Just Keep It Real podcast show, as well as follow us on all platforms, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. Make sure you guys tune in for more updates and more episodes for season 3. Thank you guys for watching this episode. I am your host, Michaelia, and it has been real.
It has been real. Thank you.